So I want to go on a bit, reading from Harold Stewart's A Chime of Windbells, as he further describes Pure Land and True Pure Land Buddhism, Jodo Shu and Jodo Shin Shu. He says here, and he refers here to the Tani Show, which, if you look at the last segment of my series on book recommendations, actually it's not the last one, it's the second from last, I focus on the Tani Show, which is a wonderful book. And so he says, undoubtedly, he says, the best short statement of Shin faith is that little masterpiece of spiritual literature, the Tani Show, attributed to Yenbo, who records in it the words which he received directly from Shinran. Its advice is echoed by Issa in the postscript to his Oragaharu, quote, "Why should you say the Nembutsu in a feigned voice? Without being asked, Amida will keep his word. This is the true peace of mind." Close quote. He has also expressed it in verse, quote, "Simply have faith. Let all attachments go. Do not blossoms scatter, even so?" Close quote. Trusting the wind, the falling petals may be trodden back into the black anonymity of mud, but are immediately reborn as the heavenly flowers that shower 6 times each night and day in the western paradise. Through his name, Amida endows us with the mind of faith, which is the true cause of our rebirth in the Pure Land. According to Tan Luan and Tao Chou, the 3rd and 4th patriarchs in China, faith is distinguished by 3 qualities. It is sincere, without admixture of doubt or endeavor. It is single-minded in its reliance on the other power. And it is continuous in its trust and longing for rebirth. The characteristics of faith are clarity, calm, and happiness, and on no count should it be confused with mere belief, a wishful attachment of the mind and emotions to an ideology or dogma, which may be true or false. The divine name confers its own initiation, since, without self-conscious striving for virtue on our part, it allows us to draw wisdom and compassion from Amida's limitless store. A moonlit night, we few assorted cranks, fogies, and half-wits call the name with thanks. Close quote. What Issa says here is the painful truth, for just such sorry remnants of humanity as these did Amida make and fulfill his vows. Yet, as R.H. Blythe said of this haiku, the moon of Buddhahood still shines in the night overhead, even though almost no one but the lunatic, the lover, and the poet troubles to look heavenward any more. Only in the winter of our lives do our thoughts turn to the following spring. During Mappoji, or the age of the Dharma and decay, few, if any, can hope to reach nirvana directly from this Saha world of long suffering. And so, Amida has providentially established his Pure Land as a spiritual state intermediate between samsara and nirvana, to enable those reborn there to hear the preaching of the Buddha in his body of recompense under ideal conditions for attaining enlightenment. This posthumous rebirth refers not only to corporeal death, but also to the initiatic death during life, a dying to oneself before one dies, by the unconditional submission of the individual will to the divine will. In the words of Meister Eckhart, quote, "The kingdom of God is for none but the thoroughly dead." Close quote. While for most seekers, actual nirvana is thus attainable only after bodily decease, at the very moment when faith becomes firmly established during this lifetime, which follows immediately on the living death of the self-will, Amida confers the right established state, which constitutes virtual nirvana. This is also called the stage beyond retrogression, since it ensures that the faithful will never again relapse into doubtful and inferior realms of existence, and confirms the certainty of rebirth with its promise of eventual enlightenment. Even though, as an ordinary human, one may still have to live out one's unresolved karma for the remainder of this life, one is henceforth in, but not of, this world, where, meantime, one now enjoys the 10 spiritual blessings. To one who is established in the stage beyond relapse, even this world can appear as a temporary Pure Land, transformed by wonder and joy. One who has been granted this irreversible state henceforth exemplifies Maitreya Buddha, or Muroku Bosatsu, Buddha-elect, who waits in the Tushita heaven, pondering on means to save mankind after his next birth into this world, and who really represents the aspirant's own latent Buddha nature, or the mind of faith in every man and woman, which now begins to awaken at the inmost core of his or her being. In the devotee who has once heard and answered Amita's call, the merit transferred operates henceforth with a natural spontaneity. Moral conduct does not precede as a prerequisite, but follows as a consequence of this first and definitive moment of the reception of faith. Amita takes us in just as we are, with all our faults. Shinran described the operation of the other power in man as Jinan Honi, or spontaneous naturalness, thus providing independent confirmation of this selfless freedom. But Jinan is at the opposite pole to the ignorant man's indulgence of his natural appetites, which still hold him in bondage to the endless round. No longer identified with selfish desires and drives, the true follower of Shin Shu can live out his still unresolved karma, gratefully accepting all things, good or bad, as they come. Through no endeavor of his own, all goes well with him, even seeming calamities working out for his ulterior good. Amita comes unasked to his aid, and accomplishes all in his stead, until at death he is reborn into the Pure Land.